right, good evening and welcome to all of you. I think as we progress, people will join us. Welcome to Blue Skies Leadership Dialogues. It's a premier monthly leadership dialogue series that we have. I'm always intrigued by this concept of leadership. How is that different qualities and different characteristics, different personalities of leaders all become successful? Is there one size fits all? And every time I think of it, I kind of become more, my thought becomes more reinforced that no, there is something unique about everybody in being the leader, in showing up as leader and becoming successful as leaders. So then we started this quest of Blue Skies leadership, where we started interacting with industry leaders. We have one today. In asking how is that they are being successful in what they're doing. So to take their template of leadership in their body of work. So that's been Blue Skies leadership series. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sunil Dutt. He is the president of Reliance Jio Infocomm. He has got over 30 years of experience in telecom and technology industries. He's truly a veteran in the sector that is working. Sunil defines himself as a learning leader, a participating leader, and an inclusive leader. His leadership goals extend beyond business achievements, focusing on growth and mindset of the people, ensuring that every day is an improvement for over last several decades. Yeah. Outside work, he is very passionate about discovering new places and enjoys a good round of golf, if that's technically how it is told. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Sunil Dutt. How are you, sir?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prakash. Thank you for the introduction. Very good. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. So to set the ball rolling, you coming from the telecom industry and digital transformation, I'm just curious about, what leadership skills are very critical in driving successful digital transformation in an organization as big as yours?
I think several things, Prakash, that come to mind when one is talking about, what are those critical skills, as you asked, right, about driving digital transformation in an organization. First and foremost, I think, for leadership, it's important to have a visionary thinking. You need to be able to dream. You need to be able to have a vision. And for that, especially in a digital organization, you need to also be able to understand technology and how technology can actually create value for millions of people if you wanted to scale up. And then to be able to articulate this vision into individual uh, sort of goals and be able to guide the organization accordingly. That's one. I think the other is very critical skill is communication.
Mm-hmm.
And change management, being able to handle change, because in a digital era, it's cliche term to say the change is constant, but that is the reality.
Yeah.
In today's world, the way and the rapidity with which it is changing. So for leaders, it's extremely important to be able to communicate very effectively, be able to address any sort of resistance that keeps coming up, because when you have such high rapid change, there always is bound to be resistance. People are, comfortable in their usual way of working. And then to be able to ensure that all the employees that you are, or all the colleagues that you are working with, they are engaged, they are committed, they see the bigger vision which, the leaders are talking about. And I take up these skills from, I learn about these skills from when I see, our leadership, our Apex team, our chairman, and everybody who works with him. and when we hear him and his thought process.
Yeah.
So these are things that come to my mind. Uh, another, I think, skill set that you need to have is to be able to plan strategically, which means you need to be able to plan long term,
Mm.
which means to be able to visualize what is going to be done 5 years down the road. And once you define that goal, how do you work backwards from that to be able to
Mm.
see what is it that I need to do today? What is it that I need to do after 2 months, after 3 months? What are those goals that we are setting ourselves about? What are those priorities that we are talking about? What kind of resources are going to be required for that? And what are those short-term and mid-term goals which we need to define? Maybe define them very audaciously so that, you know, in a changing environment, you're talking about big goals which lead to big successes also.
Mm.
It's important to be technology savvy. And when I say technology savvy, it doesn't mean that you need to be technical experts. If you are, very good, but if you aren't, you need to have a very good understanding about how different digital tools, different platforms, different technology platforms work, and how do you make them work for yourself? What
Mm.
is it that you get out of them to be able to make informed decisions? uh, that's another, leadership skill which you do need to possess. One more is, and again, because this is what we're talking about, is the digital world and a digital transformation. One thing that you do need to have is high amount of agility and high amount of flexibility,
Yeah.
because as I said, in a very rapid changing environment, these are things which hold you. If you're flexible, you're able to make changes as you go along. You're able to adapt. You're able to be quick. I think those are skills which will always be helpful for leaders. Uh, building teams,
Yeah.
building collaboration amongst teams is another, I think, skill set which one needs to possess, because uh, any kind of transformation will have different cross-functional impacts. Cross-functional collaboration will be required. Different teams need to come together to be able to appreciate each other's priority areas and to be able to help each other to be able to achieve that. Uh, Happy that, in the last 20 years plus, this has happened very successfully in all the teams that I've worked with. Uh, Again, I'll say a little cliche, uh, but everybody talks about it, is about having, a customer-centric mindset.
Mm. Mm.
There is a little bit of a difference that I want to speak about. It's not just about customer experience and just not about keeping customer at the center of your thought process or your strategies. Now, customer is, when we say customer-centric mindset, what it means is you have to keep the customer at the center of your strategy or your priorities at every stage of your business.
Yeah.
So it's not about, you know a sales team or a marketing team will visualize about customer centricity, and then everybody else is working in their own areas. Yes, today, whether it's a supply chain team, whether it is a finance team, whether it's a customer care team, whether it is a product development team, whether it is any team, at any stage of work, you need to have that customer centricity mindset. Only then you are able to actually provide value to the entire team.
Yeah.
So that is one more skill set which all leaders need to drive in their teams. Uh, in today's age and time, uh, data plays a critical role. I'm not saying earlier it did not, but today technology enables you to have real-time data, and that helps much faster decision making. To give you an example, at Geo, uh, we have a structure which is, a national headquarter, then there is a regional a structure, and then there are states, and below the states there are areas, and then there are about 1,000 geo centers and about 6,500 geo points. So geo points are addressing the last mile, which is the rural markets. Geo centers are addressing a level above, which is the urban markets. But what I'm trying to say is, whatever happens at a retail outlet at a geo point level is immediately visible to us
Mm.
at NHQ. And on a need to know basis, in parallel, it is available to each and every person, whoever requires that data for his or her work. And this really helps in terms of the decision making. It helps us to leverage that data to be able to, for leaders to be able to guide the right kind of decisions, to be able to share what are the critical success factors which have happened in one market, to be able to take it to the others. So a data driven decision making, I think, is a very critical part in today's leadership skills which are required. To this question, I would sum up by saying, one of the last points that is very important, and of course, there are several more, but what is coming to my mind is, ethical leadership.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because with increased reliance on data, on technology, on visibility, all social media platforms, etc., leaders also need to be able to navigate the ethical implications of their decisions, of all decisions regarding digital transformation, and it needs to be carried out in a way which is secure, which respects privacy, which is responsible, which is which provides that transparency to people. So I
Yeah.
think that again is extremely important.
Yeah.
So few of these points which come to my mind.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thanks for sharing that. It's interesting that, how you are navigating this right from the vision to saying that, there is this piece of, leadership skills that you need to acquire, learn from each other, saying that there is data, there is, customer. See, even when we speak about digital transformation, seldom we hear customer centricity is also a piece because it is in every stage. And how strategy makes, very important role in, doing this digital transformation, and also bringing the element of ethical leadership when we are speaking about digital transformation. Brilliant. Now, what intrigues me is when we speak about this bigger landscape, and you said, there is one cliche that is change is uh, constant, but it's also a reality. But another reality about change is there is a lot of resistance to change. How does leaders overcome the resistance to change during transformation efforts?
okay, I see. I mentioned, whenever you are trying to bring in any kind of transformation, any kind of change, there will be resistance, because it's not that people are just wanting to resist for the sake of resistance, but it's just that people have a natural way of working, that they get comfortable in a particular way of working, and they feel that, yeah, this is, I'm doing enough, I'm doing more than enough.
Mm.
But sometimes leaders need to recognize that more of the same is not what you're looking for,
Yeah.
and therefore there are certain things which require change. And if you are in a digital organization, you have to be prepared for a change every day. There could be a technology disruption, there could be a regulatory disruption, there could be a product disruption, there could be any kind of disruption which is happening. And either you follow it or you orchestrate it. So the better part is that you orchestrate it, you drive it, rather than having to follow it because somebody else has done it.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, and therefore avoid or manage the resistance to change within the organization, I think one of the critical parts is communication.
Mm.
As I said earlier, you need to have the vision. Leaders need to have the vision wherein they define the long-term vision, but communication is extremely important, and consistently. It's not that I have today communicated the goals and the objectives of the organization and what we want to achieve a year down the road, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, and after that, okay, guys, now you do your work, and let's keep working towards it. No, every stage requires a clear communication about the vision, about consistently, keeping people updated on what is the progress. Keep them engaged, keep all the stakeholders engaged, and engaged early enough. Don't wait for certain things to happen or incidents to happen and then come back and try to define why those decisions were taken. Keep them engaged. That provides a certain level of comfort to people. It provides a certain level of security to people, and also provides a lot of motivation to people to be able to handle change. Uh, the other is, a lot of people, especially in digital world, might require certain training, certain support for their skill sets, etc. Be open to providing them. Engage with them to understand what is it that they are looking for, what are the areas that they need to work on. Let them specify that, help them with that training, with that support.
Hmm.
uh, Very important also that when you are working and when you are achieving something together as a team, you're winning something together as a team, you know uh, demonstrate those wins to everybody. Highlight those successes, even if they are small wins. Highlight them,
Yeah.
showcase to everybody,
Yeah.
because that will help the larger picture of transformation. It'll help the larger changes to happen more easily. And
Hmm.
then also celebrate.
Yeah.
So if people have successfully achieved something, even if small, celebrate it. Celebrate it as small group, as a large team. In those celebrations, reinforce all the good behaviors, all the good practices, all uh, those inputs that led to those wins, and encourage people to do something similar. For example, right now, before I came for this call, for this meeting,
Mhm.
I was we were celebrating about 15th of August with the cross-functional teams downstairs, and different teams were performing, and they were showcasing critical messages of different states,
Hmm.
including different attires, different messages, different performances. So that again is all about engagement. It's about keeping people together and celebrating. And you don't really need to celebrate success all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to be able to celebrate, being together, because that also gives a lot of confidence to people that, yeah, I'm part of a larger organization, and whatever changes we are driving is good for us.
Yeah.
While doing that, I think to be able to successfully handle resistance to change, one critical skill set is good listening.
Hmm.
And good listening, along with being, you know, uh, along with having empathy. So it's not just about hearing, it's about listening. It's about listening with empathy. It's about listening to actually understand and then help. It is not about listening to counter.
Yeah.
I think that is extremely important while handling resistance to change. Uh, for leaders in a rapidly changing environment, being visible and being accessible also very critical.
Well,
Be there for people.
yeah.
Be there for people. And when you are answering critical questions, you are addressing certain resistance. Use data.
Hmm.
Don't Leaders don't have to give only feel good kind of answers. Data is data when presented with logic and with the objective that one is driving towards. I think that clearly helps in being able to handle resistance towards change.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So yeah, and I
See,
can go on, but I think this is
I mean, it's very interesting, in how you say that, how do we address resisting change? You had a lot of cultural response to it. So that goes on to say that, having a good culture to digital transformation is so very important. Yeah. So my last question to you is, technology is changing at a very rapid pace. And you mentioned that it can change tomorrow morning because of any disruption or because of any regulation or anything of that sort. Then how should a leader keep pace with something that is running faster than us?
Uh, for leaders to be able to keep pace with this kind of change and this kind of uh, digital transformation, I think first and foremost should be learning and development.
Hmm.
Uh, a leader needs to be a learner at all points of time. And you need to be open to learning from anywhere. You know, if you have to stay informed and if you have to invest in your training, etc., you have to be open for learning and development from any quarters, whether it is from people senior to you or people more experienced than a leader, or from the peer groups, or from people who work with you, your juniors.
Yeah.
And I can tell you some of the best learnings that I've got in my lifetime have come from people who are much younger to me.
Yeah.
Now, when I say much younger, they could be 25 years younger to me, but they have given me so much amount of learning because they come without any baggage. They give you that input without any hesitation. So it's critical to be able to have a mindset which is constantly open to learning and to development. Uh, because it is about rapid change and rapid growth. So unless and until you're driving growth, you're not, unless you're a growth company, you're not going to be in the market for too long.
Yeah.
So that growth mindset has to be embraced and embraced, very strongly. You need to be able to communicate that growth mindset, cultivate it amongst your people, help people adapt to that kind of a mindset. Uh, keep them informed as to why, instead of just those statements saying, what worked yesterday will not work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Help them understand what worked yesterday, what out of that can work today or tomorrow, what may not work tomorrow and therefore needs more, a different kind of a mindset and therefore different kind of learning. Help them, cross that chasm to be able to understand that.
Yeah.
Leverage technology. As I said, technology, use all the digital tools, which are available to you, because you need to be able to master them. You need to be able to master them to be able to enhance productivity. And again, as I said, you don't need to learn technology. You need to be able to learn how technology works for you, because that will help you enhance productivity of people. It'll enhance his communication amongst people. It'll speed up the decision making. It helps everything. And also, I would say it integrates people for quick decisions and responsiveness.
Yeah.
I think that again, digital tools help to do that.
Absolutely.
Constantly, as I said, keep hammering the message of, let's make it better than yesterday. Let's make it a continuous improvement.
Yeah.
Let's build that culture towards improvement, and not just hollow word, but as I said, celebrate all those successes as you go along,
Yeah.
and make sure that people are understanding it, people are participating in it. Uh, transparency again is the word that comes back to my mind, because that is something which is critical.
Yeah.
If you are handling very rapid changes and handling rapid growths. So transparency again is a word that comes back in terms of people and in terms of business. Uh, again, collaborating and working with teams and making teams collaborate and work with each other again is something that comes to my mind. Uh, engaging with the other peers and other people to be able to maybe build a network of people who undergone similar transformations or have navigated similar changes in their organization. So I think building that network of people again for leaders is a good thing to do. It's never it's never bad, because you tend to get to learn a whole lot from other people who've gone and done this.
Yeah.
Uh, one more thing which is critical, I think, and that's something which some of the leaders find it difficult to do, but very critical to do, is to empower people.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Delegate things or objectives to people, trust people, empower them, let them make mistakes, guide them. Even if they make a mistake, again, guide them, help them. Trust their judgment, trust their expertise, trust their experience. Let them run it. Be there for them. Be there so that they have the confidence that if they make a mistake, somebody is there to help them. And as I said, at every stage of our work, keep constantly focused on customer.
Yeah.
So whether it's about developing a service or a product, or about how to take the product to the customer, or about uh, how to make your warehousing better or your supply chain better, or so at all points of time, I think it's very, very critical to keep the customer at every stage, customer in your mind, in your vision, in that centricity of everything that you do.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Great thoughts. I keep hearing these words of, culture, communication, customer, ethical leadership more often in your, sharing. And, it really, I can feel uh, the kind of importance it is having in your leadership style that you're, as you show up as a leader. So I now call audience who are with us uh, to ask if there is any question that they might have.
Yeah, can I start?
Please.
Sunil, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sunil, you mentioned something about technology disruptions. Now, which do you see in your line is the biggest technology disruptor in the line where you are currently in with Airtel, and the very few other names, honestly, is there in the offing in the next 2 years to come, and how well are you prepared?
uh, so in the line of business that we are in, it's actually very difficult to be able to prejudge or forecast as to the technology disruptions that will come. But uh, I think what we need to always keep in mind is
There was some talk of Elon Musk entering and some new technology. I read somewhere. I may be very ill-informed.
we are we are not yet very sure about that, and we are not very sure about how it is going to evolve. But whatever is, and I would not say disruption. I would say, what is the kind of revolution in technology that is being thought through, what is being brought about. And the critical thing is to be able to identify the need gaps for the customers and to be able to work for them. So for example, uh, for several years we had to suffer the low speeds of 3G, and sometimes no availability of 3G, and we're paying a humongous amount of money through our nose for that technology, while all the time everybody knew that this country is full of young people. This is a country of youth and young people, and the biggest need for youth is to be able to connect to the rest of the world so that they are able to make changes in their lives. It's not about us making changes in their lives, but they have to make changes in their lives. So therefore, the biggest need for them is that digital connectivity, to be able to get connected to a digital broadband highway, and be able to make use of information, tools, practices which are available globally, to be able to bring them and make a difference in their lives. So when we started off, I mean, I'll just give this as an example. When we started off as 4G service in the country, there were several other 3G operators whom we could have bought out and their businesses, but that would have given more of the same. It would not have addressed a long-term countrywide need of a large population, which today has been possible, and therefore so much has got impacted as a result of that. As we go forward, the disruptions that would come, I would not go 2 years or 3 years down the road, but the disruptions that would come are, and as a result of the 5G coming in, would be in healthcare, would be in remote healthcare, would be in fintech industries, would be in the education industries, would be in animal husbandry and cattle health, would be in agriculture, would be in so many of these things, because they would get impacted as a result of this digital technology, which is evolving at a very rapid pace. So we can expect several sectors, including supply chains and efficiencies built around those. We can expect to see a huge transformation happening in all these sectors over the next 2, 3, 5 years as we keep moving along.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Satish, for asking, and thank you, Mr. Sunil, for the response.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Anush.
I hope you're doing well, and always a pleasure to hear you and gulp your insights. Uh, just a small, nano, granular kind of a query. So, as a leader, so probably how we one spin or carve out their medulla in terms of maintaining a balance uh, around the conventional set of, say, edge to edge model, human to human model, and the digital transitions and the various technologies that are coming up, like Gen AI and all that. So, how does a leader basically balances out the conventional model, which probably I think are also as relevant, are important as the digital assets and the digital slices?
So if I understand the question, what you're saying is, how do leaders manage the conventional structures and existing technologies with what are the evolving technologies and evolving tools? Uh, uh, how do you balance out the two? Is that right?
Right, sir. Right. True. Copy that.
Yeah. So, Avesh, in my view, as I said earlier, leaders need to be able to recognize what are the long-term goals and keep an eye out, as I mentioned, for what are the different evolutions taking place in the digital world. As you just mentioned, AI, or other AR, VR, etc., all of those technologies that keep coming up. How do you ensure that those technologies actually can make a difference in the lives of people? So anything, for example, at Reliance, there's the message from a founder chairman, which early on people, when they join Reliance, they look at that message and they just pass it by. But as you keep living and working here, and you understand the organization, you understand the culture, you understand how we work, what he said was, what is good for India is good for Reliance. It could be a statement, but it's not a statement. What we live by is to ensure that whatever we do is good for India. Whatever we do can benefit 140 crore Indians. That is the way we work. So at every point of time, with every technology evolution, we are looking at it in terms of how can it benefit 140 crore Indians.
Right.
And when we do that and we balance it along with the existing technologies, then we know what is the kind of path that we need to set out for ourselves to be able to ensure that these technologies are able to help every Indian get benefit of it. So I think when we keep that kind of a thought process at the center of our thinking, And as I keep saying, at every point of time, keep customers at the center of the thinking. I think that helps to be able to manage that transformation between the existing structures and the future as it evolves.
Right, sir. Right, right.
Thank you, Avesh, for asking that. And
Thank
the key takeaway from this response that you gave is what is good for India is good for us. This is a wonderful way of looking at, what's the strategic direction that we can look at. And it also kind of defines our customers. What is good for 140 crore customers is good for us. It's a wonderful way. Right? It gives a very broader frame and a very strategic frame to operate or operationalize how we leverage on markets and geographies. Brilliant. Thank you. So thank you so much for attending, and thank you so much for gracing this occasion. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's been a pleasure being here.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.